I wanted to ask about competition, not with other truckers necessarily, but with another mode of transportation, the railroads. Because when you began in the 1930s, the railroad still carried a lot of what was then called less than carload freight. And within 30, 40 years, that business had become what we now know as less than truckload. How did the competition with the rails evolve? How did LTL, as an industry, originate?
At Burkeville, Virginia, there's a sanatorium. They used to send a lot of people in there, and people picked up off the street were sent there a lot. They bought a lot of freight, paper towels and stuff like that. The railroad would pick up a shipment and carry it to Spencer, North Carolina, and they would peddle it coming back. So that shipment went to Spencer, North Carolina, and came back, and it took about 4 days. And I went up there, talked to those people, and I could unload that 2 a.m., 3 a.m. So I started handling that stuff, and some days I'd have a load going to that one particular place. I remember toilet paper and paper towels were one of the big things. But the railroad service, I mean, it was so poor. You take a place like Winston-Salem to, around Pulaski, Virginia. Through there, if you send a shipment from Pulaski to Bristol, by rail it's 185 miles. By truck it was 27 miles.
So they would take the freight by rail to a depot.
Yeah.
Unload it, put it onto a truck or a wagon.
Yeah.
And then drive it to another depot or to the destination, and be holding it all that time as well.
Well,
rail cars. Was that
the railroads were losing money on LTL, and I think they were glad to get rid of it. The day they restricted their pickups to carload, I think was a good day for them. It sure was a good day for me.
Mr. Cochrane, when Railway Express Agency, when that went out of business, I know that was a huge jump in the freight you were carrying when they went out of business, right?
We were competing with each other on a Norge refrigerators. They were distributed from Richmond, and I'd get about 6 or 7 a day. The railroad would get that many or more. So I just kind of kept fighting to get more and more of those refrigerators. And some days I'd get 10. Well, I couldn't get 10 on one truck. So I'd call the receiver and tell him I had these refrigerators. I said, is there any particular one you need? He'd give me a couple he needed. He didn't care whether the rest of them took a week or not. So we worked at a lot of things like that improved the service. But I've delivered a lot of freight at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m.
And these were, again, things that the railroads just couldn't do at that time with their service network, with their distribution network.
They couldn't do it. The LTL, they were in terrible shape.
How did LTL evolve to become, what it has become, after that period, as you get into the 40s, 50s, 60s?
Well, LTL today is UPS and other companies handle a lot of the smaller shipments. We used to handle an envelope. It cost $27 to deliver an envelope. Well, UPS delivered that, I think, for about $10. So we got out of the small package when UPS came along.
And you focused more then on the freight that was it, say, under 10,000 pounds, or were there other limits you were looking at that time?
I tried to open a terminal where I had someone on the other end could load my trucks back. Procter & Gamble was the greatest place in Cincinnati. I never run empty to Cincinnati. I'd keep trailers dropped over there and at different divisions, and they'd load them and call you and tell you to come pick them up. I'd pick them up and carry them back to the terminal. May sit there 2 days sometimes. But the return load had a lot to do with where you built your terminals.
And was there a distinction between truckload and LTL at that time? Or did truckload not really
Well, they didn't.
come into play so much as a separate type of company?
No, well, there weren't any truckload carriers in.
Right.
The LTL carriers handled all truckload and everything. So we didn't have any distinction between truckload and LTL.
hmm So up until deregulation in 1980, companies like Overnite, ODFL, what was then Yellow Freight and Roadway, those were the trucking industry.
That was, yeah. Some of them set the pattern. Texas carriers, Oklahoma City, they set the pattern a lot down there. Most of them are gone now, but Central was a big one.
hmm
Set the pattern.